We'll start it off here. Hello, welcome to episode 33 of Ring Takes here. 33. Joining with Brian and Lewis as always. Thank you guys for joining me. Not as much traffic going on in the wrestling world, but there are some things here. Nia Jax returning, branching bloodline paths, and Raw recap we're going to be going over. But first, let's get into it. Nia Jax returning. In the main event of Raw, we had Rhea Ripley and Raquel Rodriguez basically having their rematch from Payback. Dirty Dom banned from ringside, so we're figuring out somebody else from Judgment Day is obviously going to help Rhea Ripley in. Nope. The returning Nia Jax comes out, splashes Raquel Rodriguez, and Rhea Ripley picks up the win. But as Rhea Ripley's picking up the win, she's celebrating. Nia Jax headbutts her. So after weeks and weeks, months and months of saying she doesn't have any challengers, she apparently has 2 challengers now.
Prayers have been answered.
From the evidence. So what do you guys
months now.
So what do you guys think about this actually becoming maybe potentially a triple threat type thing or having multiple challenges, but most importantly, the return of Nia Jax?
You go, Brian.
You want me to go? All right. Well, it's not very often that WWE like catches me off guard or surprises me with something. I like to think that between the three of us, I like to think that like 90% of the time that we can pretty much predict what's going to happen or have a good idea of the direction it's going. based upon the record, Lewis definitely as far as pay-per-view. But as far as like storyline direction and stuff, we like to think that we know where it's going, and this was definitely out of left field. One of the positives for it, that Daniel mentioned, finally Rhea has another credible challenger in Nia Jax. Mm-hmm. I think Nia Jax is a former Raw Women's Champion, and I can actually remember when Ronda Rousey still had value, and when she won the title, and I was asking like, okay, who's going to challenge Ronda? Because I felt at the time, that her mystique was still there, so I felt that there were no challengers, and then here comes Nia Jax with the size and the power. So from that standpoint, having her back is a great thing. From the other standpoint, from other fan standpoints, some people are looking at it as a bad thing because, one thing about Nia Jax that people apparently on wrestling fans on social media apparently complain about is the fact that they feel that she's unsafe in the ring. And they bring up multiple examples. They talk about the match she had with Kairi Sane during the pandemic, where Kairi ended up with that cut above her eye. Mm-hmm. Daniel just mentioned before that year's Survivor Series when she punched Becky Lynch. I know me personally, I was frustrated with that, but only from the standpoint that because now that Becky wasn't going to be in that match, that they were going to substitute in Charlotte, and Charlotte and Ronda hadn't been done yet, and I felt that it should have been saved for another stage, but they kind of had to do it. But Nia punching Becky in that instance actually made Becky a bigger star. I mean, she actually really became the man after that punch. You see Becky's face covered with blood, and she's still fighting and stuff. Kind of gave her more of a mystique. So from that standpoint, it kind of helped. But it's good in a way. It is good to have Nia Jax back. We like I said, Rhea Ripley does need some contenders, and doesn't get any better than Nia Jax. She definitely does. She looks a lot better. She's moving a lot better. I know a lot of wrestling fans on social media like to fat shame other wrestlers, but it's just like, dude, I mean, they're in better shape than you are. So stop. But for the most part, I am looking forward to seeing what this brings. I mean, now like we said, Rhea has another challenger. It probably is going to go triple threat. WWE likes when they got 3 people who size-wise are around the same size, so they throw them into a triple threat and see what happens. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. So it is good to have Nia back, despite what some other fans may think.
Yeah, like Brian said, definitely wasn't expecting her coming back, even though when they brought her back for the Rumble, I thought she would have been back sooner. And, I follow her on social media, so I pretty much thought like, it's not just going to be a one-time appearance. Like, why would you just bring her back just for that? if you're not going to utilize her. But and funny enough, like I said in our chat, like I said, when I saw it happen, I was like, I think I was on Twitter and I guess the interview that Raquel had where she was talking about her match. I really didn't pick up what she said. I mean, she talked about how Rhea was definitely like one of the most dominant, maybe because she said like dominant forces, I guess. I don't even know if that's what she actually said. And somebody was like, oh, they're hinting at Nia Jax coming back. And I was like, no, they're not. And I'm like, shit, that person was spot on. I was like, I didn't even catch that. Yeah, definitely surprised. I'm definitely happy that Rhea has more contenders. Legitimate contenders, even though I'm sure there's still a plethora of the roster that we're just not seeing or being utilized for other stuff. Again, I never remember who's on what brand. Like, so many people that got drafted and you don't see half of them. But hey, Nia's a big dame. She's a powerhouse. Like Brian said, Raquel's a powerhouse, Rhea's a powerhouse. So, let's just have these powerhouses go at it. Let's I know, yeah, she has the negative stuff that comes with her. Hopefully that has changed. Hopefully we see a different repertoire from her, from her last run. I've definitely felt she had way more potential the first run in the sense that they could have booked her way better. I felt like she should have came in, not necessarily just win the title off rip, but could have been more dominant than she was. I feel like she took a couple losses that she didn't need to take, and I don't know, when she was heel, it was like it wasn't the best. Like, she's better as a heel, but I don't know. I felt maybe like her promo work could have been a little bit better, but I digress. What were you gonna say, Ryan?
No, I was not. You talking about Nia just kind of reminded me of. Remember when she did that leg drop on the apron and then she landed on her ass and she said, "Oh, my hole,
my hole."
How that became a thing like in like the coming weeks.
I forgot all about that.
I was just thinking
about that's actually hilarious. Yeah, and I don't know, that first run, I feel like she kind of got the kind of the Big Show treatment. Not in the terms of size, but in the size, like, she's so strong in this giant force, they just like didn't want to just slap her on with the title. Instead, they kind of made her run around the ropes and everything until finally she got the title.
Tried to build character. I guess that's what big person booking is in wrestling. Trying to build.
Hey, sometimes a monster is just a monster, and
make him a monster. Yes,
and that's why like things were like Braun Strowman and stuff. I'm like, dude, this man is massive. How is he not just like running through the roster and like, And
he was on beast mode and he was doing good, and then they put him in these dumb storylines and have him doing all this dumb stuff,
and then these like super dumb quick like title reigns, like it just doesn't make sense. I'm like, you literally like. Having a Goldberg type person in your roster is not always a bad thing. Like, somebody can have like come in, hey, look how strong they are. If they're legitimately good and people are like, holy shit, yeah, I don't think this top guy is gonna. Huh? Who'd you say?
Omos.
Why is this man's name being brought up right now?
Brian, we're gonna have to ban Dan from just saying that name.
Bro, something
We're gonna have to create some
people that
are featured on TV. We have to create an Omos jar. Every time he brings them up, he has to put in $1 because we don't see him.
Oh man, hey, he's a free agent. Hey, you never know.
Yeah, exactly, he's a free agent.
Whatever. But anyway, yeah, definitely happy to see her back. I'm very interested to see what she's gonna bring, how she's gonna represent, how she's gonna interact with the crowd, and hey, keep giving me more contenders. That's all I want. There's a shit ton on SmackDown. Give me a few more for Raw. I can't just be 3.
Facts.
And get Piper Niven out of that damn tag team. Just put her in there.
Hey, we got something cooking there, but we'll get to it. As the return, as the return of
the tag team is literally Beauty and the Beast. That's exactly what they're trying to do.
Pretty much.
It's like.
But as far as Nia Jax goes, it's good to see her back. Good to see her coming back as an irresistible force. Yeah, I just like this for the Raw division because it was kind of lacking. They needed somebody. They needed somebody with star power, kind of somebody that's known, a powerhouse like Nia Jax, who has a past like she does, who has a shady history. Is probably something that they need and can take a chance on right now, as they need somebody in that division to prop up the division. Nia Jax coming back. I like it for the standpoint that you have another powerhouse there, because we've seen Rhea basically be dominant over a lot of people. Candice LeRae, Indy Hartwell, Zelina Vega, all these smaller miniature women's wrestlers. Hey. That's probably Rhea's best match since she's had the
first one. Not the first one.
I'm just saying she's in there. I'm just saying. But just in general, I love this whole angle between it, because now Raquel Rodriguez is also now in the middle of that. Now she has to kind of get her win back or go after Nia Jax, which is going to be interesting as well. Seeing Rhea Ripley sell the way she did after the attacks from Nia Jax was awesome, I thought, as well, because we've really never seen Rhea Ripley overwhelmed at any point in time on the roster. Like, we've seen her beat, we've seen her in wrestling matches and stuff like that where she gets beat, but in terms of just being overwhelmed, we have not seen that. We have not seen that from Rhea Ripley. So to get that type of interaction, to get that introduced into her story, her arc, I think that's a good thing. It's something now that she has to overcome, rather than being the person who's favored all the time. She now has to deal with Raquel Rodriguez and Nia Jax. So I think from that standpoint, that's awesome. And I think it brings a lot of intrigue to see where they're going with this. Obviously, Nia Jax is going to be plugged into this world title picture, but Raquel Rodriguez is also going to be there as well. So I think that's very good for the women's roster. I think that's good.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, definitely. I mean, like I said, Nia has legitimacy to her. Obviously, being a part of that huge Samoan family, that obviously has always played a role. I remember you guys remember the angle that she did with Lana, when she kept putting Lana through a table.
Yeah.
See, that's how good of a heel she was, because it actually was helping Lana get sympathy as a babyface, which
WWE was just like, we have too many tables around here. It's like every week, every show, bam. Like, damn.
But I definitely feel like but I definitely feel like Nia is definitely one of the divas that's definitely gotten a bad rap, just because of all the about all of the accidents in the ring. Wasn't there a situation with her and Charlotte where they were actually like shooting on each other in a match? Like maybe Charlotte hit Charlotte too hard, and then they started actually hitting each other. Yeah, but when you see them on TikTok, they're like best friends.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Like that's like especially with Nia Jax, they're like they were working out together, so that's how she had her weight loss and improvement and stuff like that. They work out together, so it's like she's been around like WWE people, like the roster, for a while. So if you watch her on any social media, she's always with them. They're hanging out, they're doing stuff. So to see her back in that capacity, I think that's good. I think the bonding outside and her coming back in now, everyone has probably a different respect for each other, kind of a different look for each other. So hopefully the word was that she was Mabel. That's the comparison that they were giving her. Mabel back in the day, like, was terrible to work with. He was stiff in the ring. He nearly broke fucking Kevin Nash's back. I think it was like 95 at some point in time. Like, it was crazy.
It was at SummerSlam. I know it was that.
Yeah. So that was the comparison that was getting thrown around.
All right. Do you think we will get Nia and Shayna Baszler as a tag team again?
They were.
Who? Nia and Shayna Baszler?
Yeah, I don't think so, because of what happened later in the night earlier in the night on Raw. I don't think that's going to happen right now, at least. But it's going to be interesting to see how she's used. I think you don't bring her back to put her in a tag team. You can't do that right now. At least not right now. You got to let her get a couple shots at it.
Yeah, exactly. At least let her have a little singles run first. Because I know eventually they're going to go back to it, because they always go back to stuff like that. Yeah. And plus, it actually worked when they were a tag team together.
Yeah, it did.
Nobody could beat them, because they were the women's tag team champions.
But now
it should definitely be like, I mean, I think the way the story right now should go, lead into a triple threat, and then afterwards maybe she can get her own shot at the title or whatever, or
Yeah, for sure. And I think that opens up the door for a lot of other challengers. You got Nia Jax, Piper Niven, that can be a match. You got Nia Jax versus whoever. You can put her in a tag team now, but Piper Niven, all in my eyes, is a match that they can also do. Or a tag team, or a potential tag team if they wanted to do that. Just great to have another addition to the roster, somebody with star power and stuff like that to the women's roster, especially on Raw, who desperately needed it.
Yeah, I don't know if we're gonna be a talking point, but why is it we're getting another Shayna tag team? Like, wasn't her beating Ronda supposed to be her solo